Going to practice a speaking drill. So you'll just repeat the words after me and then you'll get to read the sentence completely. Let's begin. Computer, security, incident, response, teams, are, groups of, IT, professionals, that provide support to an organization in times of cyber crimes and cyber incidents. Please forgive the typo here. This should be in plural form, so groups. If you notice, I said groups in my pronunciation because it's missing an S. My bad. Now, I'll give you some minutes to repeat the sentence completely. So you will have to read it like me and you'll follow the pace. Computer security incident response teams are groups of IT professionals that provide support to an organization in times of cyber crimes and cyber incidents. Now your turn. You may pause the video if you need more time. In this part of the course, we're going to learn about nouns in general, in English, and how they function. We will also be focusing on the role of cybersecurity to help us to practice the nouns correctly in English. Perfect. Let's begin. So nouns are used to talk about things, animals, people, ideas, concepts, etc. Nouns can be in two main groups. We can have common nouns or we can have proper nouns. If a noun is a common noun, this just means that we don't have to write them with uppercase letter. If the word is a proper noun, we have to write them with an uppercase letter. So, for example, here we have computer. Computer is considered to be a common noun, so we would write it with lowercase c. Operating system is a common noun, so we write it with a lowercase o. Cloud provider is also a common noun, so we can write it with a lowercase c. However, we have examples of all of these. So computer, operating system, cloud providers, these are the examples. These, on the other hand, would be considered proper nouns, so we have to write them with an uppercase letter. So computer, a type of computer would be Apple. Operating system, Linux. Cloud provider, Amazon Cloud. So in this case, we write them with an uppercase letter. These words, we will leave them like that. And remember, nouns are everything that exists on our planet. So everything that exists in the world that you can give a name to, okay, are considered to be nouns. So as I mentioned before, people, things, animals, ideas, thoughts. Some examples are hackers. These are people. Threat actors. These are people. A mouse, okay? So the keyboard, the mouse, these are things. Ideas, thoughts, concepts, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT. These are all things, and they're considered to be nouns in English. Perfect. Let's move on with the next part. Okay. Nouns can be count or non-count. What does this mean? If they can be count, this is indicating that we can put the words in the plural form. We can pluralize the word. And it's telling us that we can literally count, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can count them. If the nouns are not count, this is indicating that we cannot count them. So we cannot say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's not in that form. So we have count and we have non-count. An example of a count noun would be computer. 1 computer, 10 computers. An example of a non-count noun is software. Software. We wouldn't use it like 1, 2, no. We would just say software in general. You might have noticed if you've already been in IT or cybersecurity, you've never seen in the books where they put softwares. That would be incorrect. Hardware as well. So words ending with where, we leave them like that. They're typically non-count. Software is one of the most common words that you will see in English. So be very careful not to say softwares, okay? It's always software. Perfect. I hope this was clear. We'll move on with the next activity. Okay. So, another thing that we have to learn about the nouns is that they're like rules to put them in the plural form. Like in all the other languages, there are rules. So we have to follow these rules as well. In English, we can add S to the end of a noun to create the plural form. For example, when the words end with a consonant, we can put S. For example, cat, we can get cats. Words ending with E, you can put S and you get the plural form. In other cases, we have to add ES. In some cases, these nouns are irregular, meaning that they do not change, okay? The structure of the word doesn't change. It's the same in the singular or in the plural form. Or in other cases, the word may change completely, okay? And we have to learn it. And an irregular ending is en. So we typically see words in the plural form with s or es. But I will show you a case where we will use en. So for example, there's this animal called the ox. One ox. But if you wanted to talk about many of these animals, you would have to say oxen. So that's one example of a very irregular plural form of a noun. Now, I will show you the chart so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. So here, I've composed a chart with all the rules that you need to learn about how to put the nouns in the plural form in English. The first rule that we have to learn is when the word ends with a consonant or a vowel. For example, cat, we have to add S and we get cats. House ends with E, we have to add S and we get houses. Words ending in S, double S, SH, CH, X, or Z, we typically add ES. So lunch, we get lunches, and the pronunciation, lunches. Tax, taxes. There are some exceptions, of course. There are words ending in S and Z that we have to double the consonant. And this may change based on the type of English that you're using. So if it's American English, they typically just use one S for buses. But for British or, English long time ago, this was the rule. We had to double the consonant. So in this case, bus, we should write it as buses with double S. But if you're writing in the American English and you only put one S, it's also correct. Fez, fezzes. So we put double Z. And why is it considered like the rule to put this double? There is this rule in English that is called CVC. Consonant, so this is a consonant, the letter B. Vowel, the V. Vowel, the U. S is another consonant. So when you have C, V, S, you're supposed to double the consonant and then you put ES. So that's why we put it in this form. Okay, I hope that makes sense. For the words ending in F or EF, what are the rules? The rules state that, for example, the word ends with S, and there's a vowel before this F, we don't change it. We can just put S. So roof, we get roofs. Belief, we get beliefs. Chef, we get chefs. But in all these cases, we have exceptions. So in this case, wife, we have to change the F to V and then we add S. So wife becomes wives. Wolf becomes wolves. Awesome. With the words ending in Y. When there's a consonant before the Y, we typically drop the Y and add IES. For example, city, we get cities. So we change the Y to I and then we put ES. Puppy, the same thing. We drop the Y, then we put I and then ES, and this would be the plural form. Why do we do it like that? Because there's a consonant right before the Y. So the letter Y and then T is right before it. So T is a consonant. P is a consonant, so we can change the Y. But look at the difference over here. We have other nouns ending in Y, but we cannot change the Y to I. For example, Ray. Before the letter Y, there's a vowel. So if there's a vowel before the Y, we typically don't change the Y to I. We just leave the Y and then we put S. So Ray is rays, boy is boys. Awesome. For words ending in O, we typically add ES. So potato becomes potatoes. Tomato becomes tomatoes. We add ES. However, there are exceptions. Photo, we only put photos. We don't need ES. Piano, we use pianos. Halo, we get halos without E. For the words ending in US, for example, cactus, we typically drop the US and we put I, and that's the plural form. Cactus, cacti. Focus, foci. That's the plural form. The words ending in IS, when we put them in the plural form, we typically drop the IS and then we put ES. But the pronunciation is like the same. So analysis, analysis. Ellipsis, ellipsis. But we have to write them differently. So one is with I, the singular form, even though it ends in S, okay, it's singular. The plural form we have to put with ES. The words ending in ON, NON. For example, phenomenon. In the plural form, you would write phenomena. So phenomenon is one, phenomena, the plural. Criterion is one, criteria is the plural. Awesome. We have words that are irregular. This means that they don't change in the singular or in the plural form. Sheep, sheep, doesn't change. Series, series. Species, species. There, there. This word does not change. Perfect. In the next slide, I will explain some irregular noun forms. For example, one child, many children. One goose, many geese. One man, many men. One woman, many women. And the pronunciation changes here. Women. One tooth, many teeth. One foot, many feet. One mouse, many mice. Person. You can say persons. There are countries where we use persons as the plural form. In other cases, people. I typically use people as the plural form. So for this course, we will use people. One person, many people. Awesome. I hope this was helpful. And we will do the exercise in a moment. Okay. So a quick test to practice using the plural of the nouns. Okay, so software. We said in the course that software is a non-count noun, meaning that software is going to be the same. We're not going to change the word. Code. The same thing. If we're talking about code that you write on the computer, coding languages, it's going to be code. Attack, in this case, to make it plural, we have to add S because it ends with a consonant. So it becomes attacks. Threat actor. To make this word plural, we have to add S. So we say threat actors. Team. To make this word plural, we would also have to add S. We add a lot of S. Hacker, the same thing. Hackers would be the plural form. Skill, skills. And if you notice, most of the words you just have to add S, the common words that we use in English. Skill would be skills. Asset would be assets. Goal would be goals. So we write an S at the end. Guideline ends in E, so we only have to add S as well. Sorry, my S looks like 5, but it's S. Risk, we would put risk with S. Professional, it would also be with S, professionals. Practice, practices would be with S because it ends in E. I'm losing my voice. Device would be devices, so we would put S. Laptop would be laptops. Employee ends in E, so we're going to just add S. Policy ends with Y, so we have to erase the Y, and then we're going to put I, E, and then S. Policies. Now I'm going to go down a little bit. Let me see if I can go down. Get the pointer. I might have to erase everything because then it's going to be like, yeah, it looks crazy. So let me just erase that. Okay. And then we're going to continue. Where were we? We were at, get the pen again. Okay, so we did policy. So we removed the Y. And then we're going to put I, E, and S. Country, we do the same. We remove the Y and we're going to put I, E. Don't judge, eh? It's very difficult to write with your finger and just the mouse. Okay, countries. Network, we would only put S. We're talking about networks. Process would be processes because it ends with double S. So remember, when it ends with double S, we have to put E and S. Breach ends with CH, so we also have to put E and S. Counter attack, it ends with a consonant K, so we only put S. Log, we only put S and it becomes logs. Analyst, many analysts would be with S at the end. And focus, remember we said the words ending in US, we changed to I. So in this case, I'm going to try to write the word completely so it makes sense. So it's foci. Like that. And these would be the plural forms of the nouns in English. I truly, truly hope this was helpful and that it will help especially professionals in cybersecurity to improve their English. And if you ever have any doubts, if you like this video, please leave a comment and I will surely answer you. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.